I see leaves of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Olá pessoal, eu sou Samanta Oliveira, sou repórter e estou aqui a convite do RioMar. No dia 30 de abril celebramos o Dia Internacional do Jazz, uma data que nos faz refletir sobre a importância cultural e o poder transformador desse gênero tão influente. E para a gente celebrar essa data tão especial, eu estou aqui com um convidado excepcional, Karl Dixon. Karl não é só um músico extremamente talentoso norte-americano, como também um grande nome expoente do gênero, que tem várias conquistas e marcos ao longo da sua carreira. Karl, it's a pleasure to have you here. How has been your visit to Recife so far?
It has been amazing, as usual. I am always so lovingly received, and I love the food. I love the people. I think that the people in Recife are beautiful inside and out, and so it's been great. And then the opportunity to hear Brazilian talent has been really exciting. Like what's going on over here.
Nice. And what about food? It's an important topic here. So did you have the opportunity to try any tapioca, feijoada?
Tapioca with coconut.
Yes, the classic.
After coconut. The pastry that's rolled.
Bolo de rolo.
Yes.
Yes, another classic.
Nice. And then the beans and the rice.
Feijoada.
Feijoada. Yes.
It's a classic. Did you enjoy it?
I got great meat. great meat.
Okay. And now speaking of jazz, you travel the world spreading the rhythm, right? And how does experience of performing in different countries and cultures influence your music?
It's been I grew up in North Carolina in the South, so I was exposed to really traditional blues rhythms and sounds. And my father is from Chicago, and he grew up in Chicago jazz era. So we always had records of jazz legends and stuff. And I had the fortune of being able to tour with the Harlem Jubilee Singers, and we did a lot of jazz festivals. And I've seen how the music has changed, how it's grown through the years, and the influences from young people. It's been really nice. It's nice to see how it's happening here too, particularly at these festivals that are happening here in Brazil.
We have some jazz festivals too, so it connects to history. So, and about Brazil, what do you enjoy most about performing here?
Brazil is my favorite.
You cannot lie.
Well, because you got rhythm, so we can rock, and you appreciate passion. It's a very passionate culture and country, so you have to feel it. So if you guys want to feel it, and I like that. I like that you have that spirit that invites that from me. So it's always a great audience to perform for.
Yeah, it's a very musical country.
Yes.
In public too. And how do you prepare for your performances here?
Interesting, because to prepare to come to Brazil, I don't speak the language, so I have to be very aware of the energy that I'm giving off, and really be connected to myself and connected to where I am inside, because I don't speak the language, you guys instantly pick up on anything that's not right. That's sensitive. Something's wrong. So I have to really be in tune with myself, and I like that. So it allows me. I have to kind of get away from anything that's bothering me. I have to kind of move me out of the way because it's not all about me. So those are things I have to practice prior to coming.
How do you see the jazz scene evolving globally, and what role do you think it plays in today's music industry?
Really interesting. I'm old. I'm OG. And I've been blessed to have been in the company of real legends in jazz music. And certainly I've also been blessed here in Brazil through the festivals to meet some really Brazilian legends, which has been amazing. And I love how the young people are interpreting jazz. Back in the States, we have a young lady that's doing phenomenal work. And I see how you are embracing the presentation of Vyojis, but you're putting a spin on it. You're putting a nice spin on it and that's making it have relevance in terms of what's happening culturally and globally, and where you guys see yourselves. You see yourselves as changers, not acceptors. You don't accept anything. You want to you want to receive wisdom to chart your own path. And I like that. I like how you're moving music and how you're moving culture in that way.
Good answer. Still talking about jazz, what are your thoughts of the fusion of jazz with other genres like hip hop, electronic music?
I hope to be a part of that. I hope that I'm old enough that I can bring some old sounds to some new beats, because I think that's important. When we talk about the music that was birthed from the African American experience in America, which is a lot of the music that's over here, much of our rhythms come from your cultures, and from the drum beat from the other side, not the American drum beat. And so our energy comes from that. So I think it's nice to mix it and see what we come up with. I enjoy singing these festivals, particularly here in Brazil, because I get to put Karl on the music, not be so pigeonholed. And I can just put what the influences have meant to me. And I think that's important to have that marriage.
And talk about your career, your another career. How did you first become interested in jazz music? And if you were a musical child?
Well, I'm a minister's kid. I'm one of 8 children that my father had. I'm actually like 4th generation minister's kid, because my grandfather was a minister, my father was a minister, brothers are ministers, there's a whole church stuff going on. So I grew up around music all the time. And because my father grew up around jazz, he opened the door for us to experience music. So we all sang and played instruments and had a family group, which was choir. It wasn't until later in my life that I saw myself as a performer. And as a matter of fact, the solo performance in jazz was really introduced to me here because I was invited to sing at a jazz festival here Recife, and I had to figure out, okay, what's my jazz repertoire? And so I started singing more jazz things, because I had worked as in a tribute to Ray Charles. So I played Ray Charles. So I got to understand that blues kind of technique and that style. And I worked as a working singer in New York. So I did whatever they called me to do. And I knew jazz and I understood jazz, but I didn't really perform it until I was here. Pacific made me a jazz singer.
We recognize you. I was asking, at what point did jazz truly become a career for you? When I think it's here?
Because, I've been coming now, for over a decade. I started singing here, and then I started singing other places. I started working other places. I mean, I had worked at the jazz festivals, but with a group, not as a solo artist. I was a soloist in the group. And I got to be at most of the major jazz festivals that are over here, which was very, very exciting. And to get my experience that way, so that I could step and grab the mic solo and rock some things here. It's been really exciting. It's been very, very exciting to have that growth and that experience. I appreciate it so very much.
And are there any particular jazz artists or albums that have had a significant influence in your career?
Yeah. Well, certainly the Duke Ellington Sacred Works. I had the privilege of performing that with Jessie Norman when she did a piece there. And I also had the honor of meeting Duke Ellington's sister, and she was a very good friend of mine. So that resonates because it kind of speaks to my religious background and my jazz influences and stuff. Ella. Everybody loves Ella Fitzgerald. Nat King Cole. Nat King Cole. I've done a lot of tributes, and I do a lot of his music. Hopefully I can convince him to let me sing one of his songs on Tuesday. But yes, I was very much influenced by his work.
I know you're also a professor of dental anatomy, right?
Yeah.
And at an American university. And how do you balance your career as a musician with your work in dental education?
Yes, I'm a dental hygienist, and I've been an instructor, clinical instructor, and adjunct faculty at New York University the past 30 years.
Oh my God.
I'm a hygienist for 40 years. I told you I'm an OG. And it's been great. It's been great. I've been able to, I was one of the first male hygienists in the field. And since that time, I've been able to influence men, which has been great. And I actually give an award out to men in the field who have made contributions scholastically and civically. And I'd like to acknowledge that as a male hygienist. And I've been working a lot, and it's been great to have my students appreciate, because my students are always rooting for me. And then my patients, because I've been a clinician for like 40 years. And my patients are always rooting for me. On my Instagram and Facebook, they are watching all of this with excitement and thrill. So it's nice that they all kind of mix up.
It's another public of it.
I'm hoping to do some dental initiative things here in Brazil. I would love to do that because my passion is educating young people about how to take care of their teeth.
And have you found any connections or parallels between your work in dentistry and your passion for music?
Yes. Because what I have noticed, being a hygienist and studying anatomy, how sound forms and the things that we do that can prevent our sound from being as pure and as loud and as honest as it needs to be. And also being in hygiene and an instructor, the relationship between systemic diseases and poor hygiene, oral hygiene, like gum disease, and why it's important to have clean teeth. You can't be a singer and hitting the high note and everything's bombed out in the bag. People recognize that, those kinds of things. But so I've been able to have dialogue or create dialogue with working musicians and singers about how to utilize dental insurance, how to go about fixing the smile, how to prioritize.
And how do you stay inspired and creatively motivated for your music?
How do I stay inspired? Well, at some point, and I think most successful artists will say that at some point, it becomes almost like a ministry to you to perform, because you feel that that's your calling and that's the gift and that's what you are here to do, is to share it and give it. It was gifted to you so you could gift it out. And at some point, you get to that place where that becomes priority for you as an artist. And so even when you're not so thrilled about yourself, you realize that you have something that you're here to give.
Feel it, right?
Feel it, and it forces you to get up and push forward.
And what are some of the challenges you have faced as a jazz musician and how you overcome them?
I guess now I would say technology is a challenge.
Really?
Because I'm an OG. Keeping up with how the industry has changed.
Yes.
And where does the OG fit? I love the opportunity to collaborate, but where do we still fit in the industry is trying to understand, especially at my level of singer, because I've always had all these other careers going on at the same time. What do I really want to do right now with it? What do I really want to do? To what level do you want to compromise the integrity and your originality and your voice?
I think the way that young generations consume music also is changing.
Yes.
The music platforms,
Yes, exactly.
Now, from winning awards to traveling the world as a prominent musician, can you share some memorable experience for your performances?
What? I would definitely, the very first time that I sang in front of a large audience, I was on tour with the Harlem Jubilee Singers, and we were in Buenos Aires. and we were at the Grand Rex, and there was this huge theater and stuff, and I stepped out, and I didn't realize there was going to be that many people out there. I looked up, and it was like, whoa, okay. And I had to sing a solo that was completely just me, totally. And the audience really liked it. I was like really impressed. And they clapped and clapped and clapped and clapped, so I had to come back and do it again. That freaked me out. And then I would have to say it was the first time I sang here in Recife. But I met the promoter Giovanni Papaleo in the airport, and I sang at the festival because somebody passed the mic and I just grabbed it. And he invited me to come here for the festival. I had no idea what I had said yes to. I had absolutely no idea. And I remember I wore all white, and I had to be taken through the street in order to get to the stage. I was freaking out. But it was like a surreal moment. It was like a surreal moment.
One of those moments, right?
Yeah. And it was like, okay, I'm feeling this. I'm going to have to give them a show. And it was so much fun, and it was so well received. And then the last festival I did here was on the beach.
Uma viagem linda.
Fortaleza, on the beach. And it rained. I thought the audience was going to leave.
Oh.
He didn't. He didn't. We were like, oh, okay. That was surreal.
The Venice where it rains. We don't go home.
No.
We just enjoy the rain and the music.
Yeah. I was just going in the rain. I was like, okay.
It's another vibe,
I'm feeling it.
The rain chops and the music. Yeah.
Like New Year's Eve, jumping in there.
Yeah.
There you go. I did that too. It's a good feeling. It's a whole feeling.
And can you share any interesting anecdotes or behind the scenes moments of your performances? Some curious moments.
Behind the scenes was always interesting.
Yes.
I had the privilege of working with two really, really legends. Al Green and Etta James. I was in this opening act for Etta James, and backstage, Etta James was real. She was real. She was she was in charge.
Yes.
She was in charge of everybody. I was like, okay. And she walked in, everybody got quiet, but she was she wasn't someone that you were afraid of. You just knew she was in charge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then on stage, I've never heard such a talent. I mean, it was just incredible, the talent. Same thing with Al Green. Al Green, when he would step on the stage, it was like he transformed into this other person. But he was also very genuine backstage. So being able to brush across greatness is always exciting. Backstage.
And do you have any rituals or superstitions before going on stage?
I have to pray and thank God for the experience. And I have to pray and thank God for the opportunity. Have to pray and thank God for the gift.
He really gave you.
That he gave, and the opportunity to share it and just hope it is received. So I remember a girlfriend that I had who I had asked a question. She actually, she was a stripper.
Okay.
She was.
Okay.
And the question that I had asked her was, how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you on stage and perform like that? And she said, well, you find one person that's getting it and you perform for them. And I thought, that's interesting concept. And as an artist, I stole that. Because when you connect to one person and you can make a difference in one person's experience, that's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
So when I in my ritual praying, I will always remember that, and I always remember her for that. But I always remember that, and she was a lovely person. That if I can use my gift to touch one person, I fulfill God's purpose for giving it to me. So I pray that I can touch one person.
So beautiful. Karl, what advice would you give to aspiring jazz musicians who are just starting their careers?
Know your voice, what you want to say, and listen to the legends of how they set it, because there is a real rhythm. I mean, I don't feel by any means that I'm a fantastic jazz singer or the greatest at that, because there is definitely a language, and I learned the hard way because jazz musicians can be very mean, but there is a real language in the rhythm. So know your voice and how it fits. One of the things the advice that a voice teacher gave me is like, people don't really work to sound like Tina Turner or work to sound like Cher, but they're iconic voices because it's their voice. So learn to find your voice.
Yes, yeah. Good advice. How do you think jazz can continue to attract younger audiences, as we talked earlier, and remain relevant in today's fast-paced world?
That's an interesting question too, because like when you think about legends like Miles Davis, Herbie Hancock, when they were writing their music, legends like Louis Armstrong thought that they were crazy, and they were destroying the music and the musical sound. But it was what they were feeling, and they were putting it into the music. And we have constantly touched on that. I think it's important for young people to put their message in the music, and it's important for us to allow them to do that, allow them to see what they hear, if that makes sense. Because sometimes you just I hear this, now I need to see it on paper. I need to see it come together. I need to see these marriages of influences. Because where we grew up in very segregated societies, you're growing up in a very blended one. So you're constantly being invited to experience different cultures.
Last question. To finish our talk, what are you expecting to your performance here at RioMar?
I'm a little overwhelmed. I came last night with a baseball cap thinking I was going to be incognito, as we say in the States. Everybody was recognizing me. They called me up and said, I think I got on a t-shirt. I'm really trying to be like, blending in, just trying to scope it out. It's a huge space, but it's a beautiful opportunity to talk to people. I'm nervous because I don't speak Portuguese, and I won't be able to talk to the audience. So maybe you can come and translate.
Do you know any word in Portuguese? Talking about Portuguese, what words do you know in the language?
Very few. Obrigado.
Obrigado.
So I have to use that very smartly, very wisely. I have to use, so I can say obrigado. Obrigado. That's my go-to word.
Okay.
And then I translate. I say Google Translate and let it speak. And that's helpful, but it's just kind of like, it's nice because I still can communicate. Technology, your generation, allows us to still be able to communicate, but I really need to learn Portuguese. The Portuguese is hard.
A little bit.
It's hard. My tongue doesn't roll like it's hard.
Okay. Final question. Okay. Can you sing for us? A little bit.
Okay. What should I say? I see leaves of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying and I've watched them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. Never will get technology. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It's really a gift, you know.
Thank you for receiving my
Thank
gift.
you. Oh my God.
Thank you for receiving my
This was
gift.
so beautiful.
Thank you.
Carl, it was such an honor to have you here. Thank you for your conversation and good show. It's RioMar. You're so welcome in Recife in Brazil also. Okay?
Thank you so much for receiving the gift of me. Thank you for being so gracious. Thank you for the head wrap. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Recife. Thank you, RioMar.
Pessoal, esse conteúdo vai ficar disponível para ver a qualquer hora, qualquer lugar, qualquer momento no app do RioMar Recife.